Good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR-ETF stock market wrap-up for a pretty crazy trading day. And in fact, we're down in the aftermarket and all the indices tonight as we're in the heart of earnings season, and you've got all kinds of nutty numbers coming out all over the place. Tesla's getting hit in the aftermarket. It was last I looked down about 6%. We had UPS today down 12%. Now, UPS is the one that really bothered me today. When I see that a major carrier, commerce, is dropping in all categories, I don't think that's good for the economy. So that put me in the seat that I was worried about. We know that this is going to be the time from right now into August 7th, and then right after that into the Democratic National Convention, of it's going to be more about Kamala Harris than it is about Trump saying anything. Let it play out. She's got to pick a VP. From what I understand, she has the votes to make the first round. Don't expect now an open convention. Nobody's even running against her. So the party is apparently unified, and now she picks her VP. That'll give her the next step. President Trump today offered to have 2 debates with her. Couldn't that be an interesting one? Should be. We'll see what the rules are, where it would be. It was scheduled with President Biden. It was to be on ABC, what Trump calls the fake news station. But he even said, even though he called him that, he didn't say he wouldn't hold it there. But there could be some change of the rules. We don't know what he's going to do or how he's going to do it. We saw GM come out with earnings, and yet the market down $3 on the day. Rivian held on today. As you know, I told you that on AMC they had done refunding yesterday. Today they gave back a bit of that gain in the marketplace. Meta looking pretty good right here, doing fine. Amazon up again nicely today, but you were down in Netflix. Comcast got hurt a little bit today. NVIDIA tried more of a rally, having trouble at the 124 area, pretty clear there. And like I said, you were down $5 on the close. You're down another 6 now on Tesla or more, another 6% as I understand. So that'd be about $10 more. So we'll see where the stock actually is, but it's been all over the board. They did have about 4:30 our time, Chicago time, is when the conference call was. And I got no clear date that I watched. I watched the headlines and so on of when the robo-taxi's coming out. But I do look at the sales, and, you know, Mr. Trump's preparing us that without a new car, sales are not going to be the ideal thing that he's got right there. CrowdStrike got a bounce today. Okay. It's been straight down, so trying to pick a bottom makes no sense. You had gaps in the chart, first gap, second gap, third. So this could have been an exhaustion gap to the downside. If it starts filling it, that's what you start to think, because there's names for a gap, breakaway, runaway, exhaustion. There's all kinds of names traders put on gaps. And this is what you could get a bounce from. That's all it is. You've got plenty of resistance. First at 290, 230, 334 would be the next one. Now remember, this was a stock that was near $400, and it got down today to as low as 258. So you've taken a big chunk out of this market, and they have to rebuild their business. For the year, they've wiped out most of the year that they've done. And Delta Airlines, for example, is still not running well at all. They're the big airline that are having trouble. They've even abandoned the idea. They said children cannot fly at a certain age unattended. Normally you can do that on a plane. Not doing it because they don't know if they'll be stuck at airports, what's going on. I think that's a very smart move. Now the question is, how does CrowdStrike make their clients whole? Because if I'm a client, that's what I'm telling my rep there. You can see the breakout. You see the downside. Now, you've had a number of days under the Bollinger Band. You rarely go beyond 7 in a stock. So I'm looking for the market to try to move to the right-hand side of it. That does not mean I'm bullish. But at some point, you got to say how much damage and where's the end. And as a short coverer, that could be what the market starts looking at. In RSP, so the market is correcting an overbought condition. It is doing fine. If you take out the lows of yesterday, you got to be a bit cautious here. You could fall back then into the 18-day average for new support. So that's going to be what I think traders look at. Does it slip back with that? When I look at uranium, still in a bear camp. Still looking at a market that is oversold. If it hits the lower Bollinger Band, anything in that area, I think the pros will cover shorts. It's not a market I would push under a Bollinger Band or buy over it. It pays good attention to that thinking, as you can see on these charts. Now we have Rivian. So Rivian had an embedded reading that it lost. Do you see this? So before it gets to this number, I was looking to see, could it get to the 18-day average of closes? We'll find out. But here's what tells you the stock is strong, at least that's my viewpoint. The 18-day average is rising the price. Price isn't falling to the 18-day average. So I think they will come together, but I think it'll be at a higher level. In FCX, still bearish. Freeport's going to depend on what China decides to do. China is sitting there. They're having trouble. It's one of the worst days in the Chinese stock market of the year, down over 2% in their market. And remember, they don't allow short selling. They have certain short selling rules. When you can get out, big orders have to be approved if you're selling, all kinds of things, yet they're falling. And that's because they've got the wrong game plan. It's really that simple. I realize President Xi thinks he has the right one for China, but the world doesn't think so. And Copper, Dr. Copper is saying, hey, they're not coming out of that malaise right now. In Linn, so I watched the analysts downgrade this, and yet it isn't following with what they're doing. Are you embedding? Embedding is when the two stochastic numbers, called a K line and a D line, the red and the blue, start going sideways over 80. Well, you certainly were sideways over 80 today, and you were yesterday and the day before. So you're embedded. To tell me you're going down, I need the red line to close under 79. Often, the momentum leads price. But if that happens, then I can understand us getting back here. But I must tell you, I don't see this as a long-term bear market in any way, shape, or form. And the reason is I believe interest rates are going to come down. I think the economy will slow. I think home prices have to fall back to where they find buyers. Right now, they keep going up in price, and it's not a real world where that is taking place. Don't get me wrong. There are pockets that are strong, but the whole country is not that way. When we look at the home builders here, you can see you've got the higher low, higher high. It too is trying to embed. It's not quite there, it's just overbought. You don't want to see this market under the 111 area. Should that happen, I would get worried in the market. A correction could happen there. Now the financial services. Before this high of 44.31 is taken out, the fact that you lost the embedded reading and didn't get it back, I think price and the 18-day average will come together. So if I were waiting to be a buyer in this market, I'm certainly not going to buy it over that number. I'll patiently wait my turn or I'll miss the trade. In XLI, we have a market that is just overbought. The big trend is up. We've had a bullish crossover where the 18-day average just got under the green, the 100, which normally means you're going to make another move to the upside. We'll see if that happens with the industrial sector. By the way, let me come back to that chart. What I wouldn't want to see for me to be right is taking out 124.48. Got it? That's the number that I'll count should hang in there. So let's come back to the next chart. XLE, the energy. Higher high, lower low, no trend. I think you're basically caught between the lower bands, the upper band, coming down a challenge, the 200-day average. Then you went up to the upper band, played there, and you're right back down. Yes, you moved a little bit higher. No sticking power, as you can see. And then the gold miners. Okay, I think you got to be patient with this. If gold doesn't run, I don't think the miners are ready to run. So some people, and there are times when the miners run ahead of the gold. But with this momentum index just having turned down and not yet having hit the 18-day average when that happened, I think before you got up there, just what I've said on so many of this, you'll get back to that 18-day average. SLV. You can see overbought, now you're oversold. I don't think you have a lot of downside left. I think between the Bollinger Band and the 100-day average is a big support area. Unless you tell me you're going to 23, I don't see the reason to do that. In the copper market, as I said, it's all about China right now, coming down through there. India is offsetting that. India removed a lot of the tax they had on copper. And they cut it dramatically today as they're trying to bring more copper into the market, as they are the ones that are expanding their economy. But they don't make up 50% of the demand, and that is the problem. In TLT, the interest rate market, well, we're back to the 18-day average. I was wondering yesterday with the gain, thinking to myself, my work had turned on BND where you had to come out because I had lost the bullish momentum, and today, feeling much better about that. And, that's what I like. I do believe momentum often leads price. Got a lower low, higher high. No trend in the dollar. You've just come out of an oversold area turning up. You may be going to the 18-day average there. You had a bullish embedded reading in the FXE. You could easily get back where price and the 18-day average come together right now. And that's where the market, I think, should look for some support. One of the other patterns we're seeing a lot of right now in both the futures markets and SPDR's ETFs are these outside days. And that's a very, very typical pattern. So do you know how a trend might continue? Do you know what a continuation pattern is? Do you know what a pattern is that, you're leaving the trend as it is? Well, outside days often do that, up or down. How do you work with them? How do you play with them? I've created a small course, 9 videos for you to take. It includes in it access to my complete futures research and my SPDR ETF research, something for everybody in there, the charting software that we have. 14-day access is all you'll need because I not only show in the videos past results, I'll show it to you in real time as they're occurring, and that's the way that you learn. So go to our website, iraepstein.com, under the word courses. You move your cursor to the top here. You'll see an icon. Give that a click, and away you go. I'm Ira. I'll catch up with everybody in the morning.